Hey guys, Shane here at Tank Under Miniatures, and today I want to go through an idea I've had for making an army but never really put too much effort into. So that's using Starcraft models to play 40k with. They always seem pretty, compatible with each other, the way I always seen it. And being a huge Starcraft fan, I was always playing that before I played anything 40k, it always felt like they could sort of mesh together. And as you can see, I found a guy who's actually made some of these models. He's designed them. I'm not sure if these are for sale anymore, but yeah, they look pretty cool. As you can see, he's got the whole collection there, the Protoss, the Zerg, the Teran. So that's pretty cool. I always thought, you could make a fun tabletop game using StarCraft. Because for the longest time, I always felt, one ripped off the other. StarCraft was sort of based upon 40k. Most of what people said online was, it was a project gone wrong. Blizzard was supposed to make a game for Games Workshop, and then it fell through. But that wasn't the case for StarCraft, as you can read there. Its biggest influences are Aliens, Starship Troopers, Ender's Game. Those really do feel more like it's always felt like Aliens to me. That was always what I felt was the biggest inspiration for the game. So it really doesn't fit 40k when you think down to it and you really get into it. It doesn't have the same grimdark sort of aesthetic. It's more of a traditional sci-fi, eternal war type of situation going on. So I was able to find this video though, which really cleared up the whole situation. So it wasn't StarCraft that was sort of in the Warhammer 40k design, it was Warcraft, and that makes a lot more sense. So I'd recommend watching the video. It really explains what sort of happened there between Games Workshop and Blizzard. Well, they weren't Blizzard then, but yeah, if you watch it, that'll explain a few things. Now, if you were to make an army like this, how would you do it? Well, the first thing is, looking at Tyranids and Zerg. It's a pretty clear sort of customization. You could easily fit most of the Zerg models and the Tyranid models into the same sort of design. It really wouldn't be too tricky. I feel that's the easiest sort of army to design, because you got massive bugs, you got smaller bugs, you got flying bugs, it's all pretty similar. The main difference is I think Zerg have a lot more personality than most Tyranids do. Like, you couldn't have a conversation with a Tyranid, but a lot of Zerg things in the game, they have whole personalities, they have whole conversations. So, yeah, Zerg are much more identifiable, personal, than, they have personalities. That's the main thing I was going with. But yeah, tabletop sense, you could easily customize this sort of faction. So the next one I feel would be the most appropriate is, say, Eldar, which would take the place of the Protoss. They're both ancient races, they both have that agility, fast moving, they both have that warrior spirit to them, using close combat, they have this weird technology and stuff. I feel, you could really do some customization. Like I see the Banshees here, that would take the place of the Zealot. You've got magic guys, the Templars, which would be the Farseers. It doesn't quite fit perfectly, but it's the closest thing you could sort of do. So yeah, you could definitely play around with that. Maybe have the Dragoons as the Warwalkers. The Colossus, that could be a Wraith. There's a lot of fun stuff you could do customizing that. The biggest question that always came to mind though was, what do we do for Teran? Now, they are Marines, that's the base unit, a Marine, but we know they're not Space Marines, because Space Marines, they're not human. Terran soldiers are just humans in power armor. They don't have the same training, discipline, they're not sort of brainwashed the way Space Marines are, they're not, augmentated, they're not like mutants, they're not 8 feet tall, they don't fight in close combat either. That's the main thing with Space Marines, they have big power weapons and stuff like that. Terrans don't do that. Terrans just have guns. They try and avoid anything close combat. So, with them not being able to be Space Marines, you think, well, would they be Imperial Guard? And it's like, no, they don't really work the same tactics. Guard, they work slowly, pushing up, they mass numbers, and you can have masses of Teran, Teran Bio Rush is a very good strategy, but, you know, it requires a lot of support. It's just not the same. They're not designed to, you know, push forward and just withstand. So, Astra Militarum Guard, you know, it just wouldn't fit the way Terran play and their whole ideology. So, that's definitely not really an option I would recommend. So that made me realize the best fit for making a Terran army is basing it on Sisters of Battle. The Sisters of Battle rule set would be the most logical to be the Terran Marines. They're just normal people in power armor. They mostly shoot. They do have some combat stuff, but you can just pretty much play a close combat-y shooting army, and it works. So it works in a lot of ways. I'll go through that now. Alright, so let's break down the Teran roster with the Sisters of Battle units. You've got your main battle sister with a bolter. Well, that's just a main Terran Marine. He's got his rifle there, so you could easily customize it, you know, have that be your main battle sisters with bolter. Sister with a flamer, heavy flamer, anything like that, you know, you got Hellbats. You'd have to use the Starcraft 1 version because the Starcraft 2 version is quite big. That's a larger sort of model that you'd be having. So maybe you could use that for the Retributors, you know, do something fun like that. But just your normal sister with a flamer, that's where you got the Firebats. Then, of course, you've got your Medics with the Hospitalitars, so that works pretty good. Enough said there. The Ghost, you know, you got a Vindicare Assassin, pretty similar, you know, because you don't generally build a lot of Ghosts in like an army. So just like you can only take a few Vindicators, you wouldn't be taking a lot of Ghosts generally playing. Then of course you've got your Reapers with the jetpacks. Well, you got Seraphim with jetpacks. It's the same loadout. They both got the dual pistols. You know, it's right there. The Paragons, I felt the Marauders were probably going to be the closest match to that. You know, they got a bigger profile, bigger, bulkier suit, so I feel that would work pretty well. Goliaths, you know, you'd just be modeling a Mortifier. You just have like one at a time though. You probably wouldn't bring them a squad because you want to have them to look like they have that 3-up armor save. You don't want to bring a normal Paragon in, Penitent Engine or other Mortifier without the sarcophagus. It just wouldn't feel right having a 4-up save with a Goliath. And yeah, the twin heavy bolters, I feel that works pretty good for them. As you can see, the Exorcist, we've got a siege tank in siege mode. You know, that pretty much suits. And then of course, if you're out of siege mode, you've got the Castigator up there. So I feel that really suits the same sort of play style. You got your fast ones and you got your guys that just sort of hold back and shoot. So for the Rhino, like you'd have to do a dropship, but just model it so it's like a landed dropship. It'd be kind of weird because it doesn't have flying, but you know, a Valkyrie just wouldn't feel correct. So you could just have a land dropship and just, you know, sort of play with it like that. Then of course you've got your normal Immolators, which you've got your Hellions, which, you know, feels about right if you've just got flamers. You wouldn't be able to fit a lot of heavy bolters on it, but I feel that's pretty accurate there. And then last, of course, you've got your Thors, which, yeah, that's an Imperial Knight if I ever saw one. So I feel that's going to be a pretty easy comparison to make there. So overall, you could make a pretty easy conversion, making these Terran models and just using the Sisters of Battle rules for them. Because Terran, of course, like I said, they're good in sort of closer shooting. They're not a long-range shooting sort of faction. Their rifles, yeah, generally they get pretty close up in your face. So aside from the whole, you know, Acts of Faith system, you know, you could sort of make a narrative sense for that with, I guess, getting orders or stims or whatever. You know, there'd be certain upgrades you could sort of say is the Act of Faith ability coming in, but that doesn't matter so much. The main thing is, yeah, this would be doable, this would be playable, and you could have a lot of fun with this. So, yeah, I just wanted to know what you guys thought of that, what you would use to make sort of the conversion army, how do you do it, and, you know, maybe in the future we can start making these up. It'll be kind of fun, just something different out there that people aren't usually looking at. So, yeah, that's all for this one. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.